Hey everyone, Sam and Chris from Wyvern Kodiak here. Before we get started, like and subscribe, check out some of the other videos and content that we have on our channels. Thanks a lot.
Most men are prepared for the apocalypse. We just aren't prepared for Tuesdays. I have a get-home bag that resides in my trunk for emergencies that'll likely never to happen. But life usually doesn't hit you with disaster. It usually hits you with inconvenience. And a few years ago, one of those inconveniences hit me. It was the middle of the night. I was about 5 hours from home, and I was desperately looking for a restroom. I came across a gas station, and it looked like it hadn't been updated since 1960. And the only person in the place, was a lady that looked like she might have, been the founder. This was a small, frail, elderly woman. And I walked into the restroom, and I pulled the door closed behind me, and the handle snapped completely off. Now, I'm about 6'3" and 250 pounds, and so I was in no danger, but I was definitely trapped in a 6x6 box. And I know what you're thinking. You should carry a multi-tool. And the thing is, I typically did. I carried this Gerber dime in my pocket with me, for a few years, and used it probably daily for at least 2 years, if not 3. Now, the thing about this one is, I had taken it out of my pocket while I was in the car for something, and at my size, it's not very graceful to be able to get things in and out of the pocket. So it was sitting on the console where I couldn't get to it, when my emergency struck. And, that's where I believe that under urgency, our systems matter more than our intentions. I had the intention to be prepared. I just didn't have the system to back it up. And that moment stuck with me, not because it was a thriller movie, but because it was annoying. And today, I'm going to show you the inconvenience kit that I built, so that way, if I'm ever in the situation again, I never have to wrestle with a bathroom door. This shift really, or this idea for this video really popped up from the comments that you guys had in one of our other videos. And so, the theoretical prep to logistical prep is something we'll hit today. But really, again, it was sparked from your ideas, and you guys make Sam and I better thinkers. So thank you for that. Even if you don't think that you have something profound to say, please say it anyway. This channel's a really weird, wonderful corner of the internet. We have different faiths, different ages, different politics. The kind of stuff that usually starts digital riots, But here we unite around being prepared and treating each other with dignity. And that's a rare thing that I really want to thank you for. But after the bathroom incident, I didn't go out and buy a $400 survival kit. I bought an Altoids can. And after I was done freshening my breath, I decided to start building my kit. And the first thing that I added wasn't a blade. It was hair ties, like these. And first off is I'm a girl dad, and I have an 11-year-old that hasn't quite mastered the art of being proactive yet and being prepared. So I dropped a hair tie on the inside of my tin, and we used them for impromptu walks in the state park or for cheerleading competitions where missing hair tie is a genuine crisis to an 11-year-old. But carrying the hair ties really changed my whole perspective because, once you start preparing for other people around you, the scope of things changes. And it's really not about the survival. It's about sanity, yours and theirs. And eventually I moved the hair ties to the outside because, again, as life happened and I grew, I began to add things to the kit. And so, certainly some of the sanitary wipes that are used on a regular basis. And this thing, I'm sure I got in a Blade HQ promo, which is pretty good for scraping. That's really it so far. Light prying, I suppose. But I added this Ranger band because, early on, it kept popping open. But the contents are just things that I've purchased out of my money over the years because I've needed, some of these things for, when I'm out and about. And rubber bands because, well, tying stuff is important, or even utilizing these as friction points if you've got a stripped out screw or something like that. Very beneficial to have. Now, I had a my Gerber dime also had a Leatherman squirt in here at one point, but I kept getting in and out to utilize it. So I just decided one of those was going to live in my door handle full time, so that way I could use it as needed. And I put in this Swiss Army knife, and while this is a very respectable and good tool, certainly if I'm using a Swiss Army knife, it is a last case scenario. Like, I don't have anything else, so this is good to have because, again, I can take apart door locks from the inside and get myself out with that. Inside of my go bag, I've got fire, etc., but this is just redundancy for that because I have the space. I tie a wick around it, so that way, in the event that I had to light something, instead of using all my fuel, I can just utilize the wick. I've got some extra wick in here as well, and then this is one of those cloths that you get it wet, just a little bit of water, and it unfolds into a very large napkin. And I wear glasses, so having a glasses repair tool as well as a microcloth or microfiber cloth in there helps out a bunch. Now, this works in those inconveniences, and every single time I go to a public restroom, that walks in the door with me 100% of the time. Now, what I've also done is, I've prepared something that just sits in my console all the time for everyday life challenges. And again, being a father and having the family in the car, it's really important to for me to have the things that make their life a little bit less inconvenient in the event that something happens. So here's my console command center, the heavy artillery for daily life. It's anchored by this CKRT knife, and I don't know or CRKT, excuse me, knife. I don't know the model name of this one. I picked it up off Blade HQ for about $20, but we'll call it the Mustard Slayer because what it's good at is opening stubborn mustard packets while I'm driving 70 miles an hour down the road, and it's certainly the hero I deserve. It's been great, but also it's got a little bit of mechanical soul for a little thing, and I'd certainly recommend something like this if you're looking to gift somebody a small knife, a non-knife person, or that you're trying to recruit into our community, or maybe a child that you're looking to provide their first knife. This one's pretty cool. I use this Woburn flashlight as well. Again, it's a good one if you've got to get out of the car for something quick, or you have a credit card that falls in between your console and your seat at night. That's certainly an inconvenient, not emergency, but something that's problematic. Nail clippers, of course. Small bit driver. I've got some tweezers here as well as nail file, or excuse me, a fingernail file. But I'm 50. I'm more likely to be fighting a hangnail or a stray hair than I am intruders, or carjackers. So that's what I pack with me. And then I have my witness kit here. I have a notepad, a couple pens. This one serves as a stylus, but I always have a titanium pen that's on my person, but this one as well. And I typically put a Fisher space pen in them, so they'll write on any surface about any place. And I'm left-handed, so I want something that isn't going to smudge. A Tide pen rides in this thing too, because there's probably 2 feet between my chin and my lap, and but that 2-inch strip of seat belt gets 90% of the spills that come. So having that there handy has been a lifesaver for saving my upholstery. Band-aids, because I cut mustard packets at 70 miles an hour, And then just some light hardware stuff. This little multi-tool sits in there, and it's really just there for scissors. That's what I primarily use that for. Small little pry bar, in here as well. But that's essentially it. What I'm trying to do is to open up the idea that none of this is about fear. It's about responsibility. It's about practicality. It's about reducing friction from yourself and the people that you love. So I'm curious, what's your mustard slayer that's in your car? What's the one weird non-tactical thing that you carry that actually gets used every week? Drop some information in the comments for us. Sam and I are always reading, and if you want to help us grow and invite others into a community of prepared and practical men and women, hit that subscribe button. And thanks again for walking life out with us, and we'll see you on the next one.